Another Object 140 game, this time on Kamarin. I'm going to go to the east side and try and spot from there, which is what I usually do in my mediums now. I'll be trying to spot for Polka's Waffenträger and also see if I can interdict their mediums if they try and push up and do the same for theirs. It's one scout up in middle. Oh look, it's already spotted. One shot into the Waffenträger before it backs behind the building. Our team on the west side have barely even left spawn. Thunderdome is going to go uncontested to an enemy T-57, and that's really bad. If the enemy get a top tier heavy into that middle island, you're not going to really be able to do anything on either flank. They can effectively pin down both. Now I get an unlucky bounce off this E3. Normally you can pen them easily from the sides no matter what angle they're at, but I guess I just hit too much track or something and it ate my shell. I'm not sure. So that's one tier 10 TD out of action already, which is very good. See if I can get shots on the T21, but no luck. He's already dead anyway. So the enemy pushed their T44 into E9, basically trying to do the corresponding version of what I'm doing, spot for their TDs and their arty. The difference is he doesn't appear to be pushed out at all. I can actually still see him to the village. He's also lost a lot of hit points. Polka's already been hit in his Waffenträger because the thing's camo is so bad. As you saw with the enemy one, as soon as we came within just the edge of our spotting distance, he was lit. I roll out, quickly pop the T44, they're now blind. The Waffenträger does have 420 meter view range, which is very good. I would recommend putting binocs on it, but there's enough camo here that I should be able to stay hidden, just because my tank is so small. The enemy T-57 doesn't appear to be exploiting his position at all, but our tanks in the west seem to realise that pushing up with him there would be suicide. With that said, they are really too far back to be of any use whatsoever. Surprising the enemy have stayed down in G line. I would expect them to push further. Our 183 is sitting in back. Presumably he's trying to hit the 57, but he's in the most useless position imaginable. T28 moves up. He's actually making semi-effective use of terrain. Here Polka's asked me if I can shoot out all the cover in town, so I set about doing that. Something the Soviet mediums are really good for, since they carry a decent amount of ammunition and fire very quickly. So I just start blowing up as many houses as I can get to give Polka a clear shot into the enemy forest. I'm not really concerned about ammo at this point. Our team is competent enough to shoot tanks mostly, so it should be fine. Now, notice, while I'm shooting out this E5's cover, notice this. That whole road from center through to our arty is just completely open because all these idiots have left it uncovered, and the 183 is not going to be able to effectively engage a scout. T28 Proto becomes completely out in the open because they've been shooting out all his houses. He gets killed, and sure enough, 1390 shoots straight up and goes for our arty. The IS-7 just sits and watches with a dumb look on his face. It's what happens when you let people fail their way to tier 10s. Absolutely useless. So there goes our artillery support. And our Centurion gets hit by arty because the 1390 spots it on its way through. And starts pitching out the IS-7. I don't blame him. Hardest tries to dive on the T-57. It looks like it's kind of one-for-oneing. He seems to be getting 2 hits in for the T-57's 1, but he is losing too many hit points. And he's got no one in position to support him. Since we lost our arty, there's nothing to hit the T-57 there. The 183 probably doesn't have a clear shot. 57 gets hardest, but Polk is able to avenge him. So now the big worry is the ISU and the Waffenträger, both of which are most likely in the bottom right corner of the map. We know the Waffenträger was, the ISU probably also is, and the E5 is in there somewhere too. So the enemy E5 is pushed up and been spotted by, I think, our 183. He's on the wrong side of the hill for me to engage, which also means I'm on the wrong side of the hill for him to engage. So I take a quick look around me, see where everyone is. Polk is beginning to move up. So I look at the terrain ahead of me and figure out my path. I'm trying to keep this slight berm here to my side so that the E5 won't be able to hit me, and there's this little depression here, this little bowl that I can hide my tank from the Waffenträger in. There's also a lot of foliage around still. So I'm just waiting here for my team to position themselves. Enemy arty spotted. Sort of very gingerly pushing up the hill. There's the E5. I have shots on him as he rears over the hill. I miss. So I just back straight into cover. I don't want to get hit from the forest. Get a shot into him. This T-28's gun barrel is very inconvenient. Get another shot into him. Can't depress my gun enough to hit him without being hit myself, so I just decide to leave him for somebody else. Sure enough, the useless IS-7 tags him. So now the team's beginning to collapse in around the enemy forest, so I start to push up. Again, sticking to the foliage, so I stay camouflaged as long as possible, and sticking to the left, where there's this very shallow trench that runs through the forest. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. Come upon the ISU, thankfully he gets obliterated before he can turn his tank. Again, there's a slight berm in front of me that should protect me from the Waffenträger. And there he is, he's not even looking at me. So come in, get a quick shot in. Polk is firing at him, the Panther's firing at him, everyone's shooting at him. He fucks up and lets me circle him, and that is the end of the game. So, fairly atypical match for Cameron, I guess, in that the enemy TDs weren't really a thing. Their E3 basically suicided. That T-28 Proto just melted as soon as his cover disappeared. The ISU and the Waffenträger hit him back and did nothing all game. So that was quite good that their TDs weren't able to influence the outcome of the game at all, because if TDs are allowed to, this map quickly descends into game of whoever pushes first loses, much like Erlenberg. I was actually really optimistic when they first re-released this map. I thought that they would have fixed it. It certainly looks pretty, but unfortunately no, it's still just as much of a pile of shit as it used to be because of those corner forests. If they remove those forests, or move the cap zones even, so that the forest can't reliably lock down the cap, then maybe it would be a decent map. The problem is that if you get TDs into those forests where my tank ended the game here, or up here, you can effectively lock down this entire sector of the map. This path, kind of. This path, definitely. You can't come in through that path at all. Same with this path. It's just completely exposed. This one's less exposed, but still enough that you can really cause havoc with it. And the middle island as well. If whoever ends up winning the middle island can control from North Spawn, you can control basically from there, through there, and out this side, a narrow segment out there and out there as well. From the south side you can control basically all of this. So it's not a very well balanced map, I don't think. Well, it's balanced in the sense that both spawns are equally fucked. What I should have said, it's not a very well designed map in that it just encourages draws, it punishes aggressive play. Typically whoever has the best TDs or the best arty will win. Very rarely do you actually see aggressive plays on this map anymore. You used to, when the spawns were where the caps currently are, and the cap zones were here and here. You used to see all kinds of crazy aggressive play. What I used to do was I'd come out of North Spawn or South Spawn, I'd go up that way, but North Spawn typically I'd just come bucketing out here through our own cap and then into the forest and kill all the enemy TDs. The other thing you could do is just fucking rush the cap on this side and cap fast. But, you know, that worked for either side. I think it works slightly better for North. But you can't do that anymore because they moved the caps. So really, if they reverted the cap and spawn layout to what it originally was, the map would probably still be better balanced than it is now. Because this, you know, the teams would have an offensive advantage instead of a defensive advantage. Previously, the best defensive position for the cap was a narrow band of ground here where you'd need gun depression, you need to be able to hold down. And this area here, the map was a lot more fluid, if that is a concept anyone can even picture, Comorin being fluid, but I don't know. I think this map needed a lot more work before they reintroduced it.